Imagine being so obsessed with your appearance that even the smell of soap is too much for you. Welcome to the bizarre world of one of history's most infamous hygiene-averse individuals. None other than England's Virgin Queen, Elizabeth I. Prepare to be repulsed and amazed as we take you through the stinky yet fascinating details of the Queen's strange hygiene habits. You won't believe what she did to maintain her untouchable image. As the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, Elizabeth had a tumultuous upbringing. After her mother's execution when Elizabeth was just 3 years old, she was declared illegitimate and endured a succession of half-sisters during her youth. Elizabeth was known for her iconic, pale, flawless complexion. Elizabeth had a sweet tooth, a real sweet tooth. We're not talking about the luxurious bedchamber with canopied beds and velvet curtains. Oh no! We're delving into the less glamorous aspects of Elizabethan royalty. Her distorted self-image, enforced by her courtiers and subjects, turned her into a prisoner of her own making. She wanted the world to see a young, vibrant monarch, and by golly, she made sure that's what they saw. But how do you hide your age when you're surrounded by people who are paid to tell you how young and beautiful you look? Her quirks and eccentricities may seem strange to us today, but they offer a fascinating glimpse into the world in which she lived. Love her or loathe her, there's no denying that ElizabethI was one of history's most fascinating figures. A woman who ruled with an iron fist and an even heavier hand with a makeup brush? Well, Elizabeth had a simple solution: makeup. She was a devotee of the white lead and vinegar face mask, and she slathered it on thick. It wasn't just about covering up the signs of aging, it was about presenting a flawless, almost ethereal complexion to her subjects. Elizabeth wanted to be seen as a goddess, and what's more godly than a pale, unblemished face? But this obsession with youth had a dark side. Elizabeth's heavy use of makeup, particularly the white lead, caused severe skin damage. Her face became scarred and disfigured, a stark contrast to the smooth, youthful visage she presented to the public. Yet she continued to use it, clinging to the hope that she could somehow defy the inevitable march of time. It was as if she were trapped in a golden cage of her own design, unable to break free from the expectations of her role. Her every waking moment was spent thinking about how she was perceived by others, and she knew that her image was everything. She cultivated an air of mystery around herself, appearing larger than life to her subjects. But behind the scenes, she was just a woman struggling to hold on to her youth and power in a world that seemed determined to take them away. In portraits, Elizabeth was typically depicted in elaborate gowns and jewels, holding symbols of power and sovereignty. Artists were expected to flatter her appearance and convey her divinity and majesty. Even when artists like Nicholas Hilliard and Isaac Oliver captured her likeness in miniature, they were expected to enhance her features and hide any signs of aging or illness. Her chambers lacked proper plumbing, a fact that made maintaining hygiene a bit challenging. Instead of modern conveniences, Elizabeth relied on chamber pots, those iconic buckets used for, well, you know what? When the call of nature struck, Elizabeth's servants would do their business directly into these buckets, and when they had to be emptied, it was the unfortunate duty of another servant, the groom of the stool, to attend to that task. Now, before you shudder too much, consider the importance of this position. The groom of the stool was a noble, a privy councillor, and the only person other than Elizabeth who was allowed to see her without an audience. In a way, having control over who relieved Elizabeth's chamber pot gave this servant immense power and influence at court. The stakes were high. If the groom of the stool made a slip of the tongue or revealed something about Elizabeth's health or habits, it could make or break their career. So, discretion and loyalty were essential qualities for anyone holding this prestigious and somewhat smelly position. She loved sugar and all things sugary, and I mean a lot. But let us pull back the curtain and take a peek behind the gilded doors of her royal bathroom. Well, you might be disappointed. In terms of hygiene facilities, Elizabeth's palace was stuck in the Middle Ages. There were no modern toilets or plumbing. Instead, sanitation was handled through a series of medieval techniques, namely cesspiettes and the infamous chamber pots. To put it bluntly, the place was a smelly, unsanitary mess. Humans and animals shared the same space, and waste disposal was a haphazard affair. The lack of basic hygiene measures wasn't just inconvenient, it was downright dangerous. Disease spread easily, and residents often found themselves dealing with infestations of rats and insects. But for Elizabeth, the filth was part of the grand design. By refusing to bathe and embracing the grime, she identified herself with her subjects. It was a calculated move to cultivate a sense of closeness and familiarity among her people, but it also reinforced her sense of power. Elizabeth knew that her bathroom habits were disgusting, and yet she reveled in them. She was unafraid to get dirty, because she knew that her status as queen elevated her above such mundane concerns. She was the Virgin Queen, and the dirt and grime were just another obstacle in her relentless pursuit of power and control. While sugar was a rare luxury in Tudor England, Elizabeth couldn't get enough of it. She ate sweets before and during meals, often sending for more sugar even when her servants protested that she'd already consumed an excessive amount. It was as if she could never get enough of the sweet stuff. But this love for sugar came at a cost a very visible and smelly cost. Elizabeth's teeth suffered terribly from the constant sugar intake, leading to severe decay and bad breath. Despite the pain and the pungent odor, Elizabeth refused to have her teeth pulled or treated. She simply pushed on, enduring the discomfort and allowing her mouth to become a battleground between her love for sugar and her vanity. In a twisted sort of way, the state of her teeth became another badge of honor, something to be emulated rather than hidden away. Her courtiers and nobles proudly displayed their own decaying teeth, aligning themselves with the queen's extravagance and excess. Achieving this look required a strict beauty regimen, including the use of toxic white lead-based makeup. Yes, you heard that right. White lead. This highly poisonous substance was considered the ultimate beauty secret, capable of providing a smooth, porcelain-like finish to the skin, but the cost was severe. Years of applying white lead resulted in facial disfigurement for Elizabeth. Her skin became blotchy and cratered, a stark contrast to the radiant glow she desired. Despite the damage it inflicted on her face, Elizabeth stuck to her beauty secret, willing to endure pain and disfigurement for the sake of her image. And the irony is that this disfigurement became a symbol of her power and status. Those around her, including her courtiers and subjects, emulated her look, even though it meant subjecting themselves to the same toxic beauty products. It was a small price to pay for looking like the queen. Elizabeth's followers saw her as a divinely appointed monarch, a symbol of England's national identity. To them, her virginity signified her purity and commitment to her role as queen. But behind the scenes, Elizabeth was a slave to her own hygiene demons. This turbulent beginning shaped her into a shrewd and calculating monarch, when she finally ascended to the throne in 1558 at the age of 25. In fact, she only took 3 baths throughout her entire life, which raises some serious questions about her daily hygiene routine. For the average person, bathing is an everyday necessity, but for Elizabeth, it was a risky venture. According to the medical knowledge of the 16th century, water carried disease, and opening your pores through perspiration made you vulnerable to illness. Bathing was associated with the common people in the lower classes, something the refined Elizabeth wanted to distance herself from. Instead, she followed a different routine, with a determination to never marry and produce heirs. Elizabeth cultivated an image of a virginal queen, a strategy that earned her the moniker the Virgin Queen. Her undergarments went through several changes daily, ensuring she always wore fresh, clean shifts and stockings. She also developed a fondness for perfumes, herbal infusions, and scented accessories to keep herself smelling fresh. Elizabeth wasn't alone in her aversion to bathing. In the 16th century, it was common for the upper classes to avoid water, believing it would expose them to disease and ruin their delicate complexions. But Elizabeth took it to another level, becoming one of the most famously unwashed individuals in history. Her public persona was meticulously crafted, and she understood the power of perception. Let's start with the basics. Elizabeth was notoriously averse to bathing. While she might not have indulged in bubble baths, Elizabeth was particular about changing her linen frequently. But let's move beyond the smell and delve into the side of things. Elizabeth's obsession with her appearance didn't stop at her face. Her teeth were another matter of great concern. But here's the unexpected twist. And while we're on the topic of smells, let's talk about Elizabeth's chambers. In the heart of London, Elizabeth lived in the magnificent Palace of Westminster, a sprawling complex of apartments, offices, and reception rooms. As Elizabeth aged, the damage done by her beauty rituals became more apparent, leading to increased paranoia and reclusiveness. Now let's talk about the subtle art of hiding one's age. Elizabeth was a master of disguise. Elizabeth's obsession with her appearance wasn't just about vanity, it was a way of life. In the end, Elizabeth's hygiene habits serve as a reminder that even the greatest rulers are human, after all. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe for more fascinating historical tales. Thanks for watching.